Hi everybody, Carol here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing some paper piecing with the Simon Says Stamp January 2019 card kit, and I'm going to be using the little die that's in the kit. It's of an ice skating girl, and I will cut her out of many colors of cardstock, mostly blues and purples, that sort of thing, so she will look more like a mannequin. And then we're going to dress the mannequin. So there's the little die. I'm going to cut her out. I've already cut her out of white. I'm going to cut her out of turquoise. And some of these colors will be used for clothing, and you'll see that in a minute. But I'm also going to use the pattern paper for her clothing. Now this is what she looks like when she pops out. And I would cut it all out, the same whole image, out of pattern paper if I could, but all I have is scraps. So here are some of the pieces I will be using for mannequins, and some I will use for the clothing. So what I'll do is glue these down, put them on a sheet, and I'm going to make quite a composition of several of these. Now here are the scrap papers that I have. This is all I have left of pattern paper, and it's two-sided pattern paper, so I put the ones together that are front and back because I know they go well together, and tried to mix and match those first of all, line them up first of all, and some of them I just have a tiny bit left, but there's the red, and as I said, I will cut them out as much. There is some of the solid color, that dusty blue, and I'll show you right now how this is going to work. I will cut off the legs, sounds kind of gross, but and then cut off the neck and cut off the hands, and the hands can be used for mittens later on, and you'll see that. So with that done, if I laid that on top of the other one, you would see she has a dress and a scarf. But what I want to do is, excuse me, cut as much as I can out of patterned paper, and I'll have to use as much as I can. You can see that's one of the biggest pieces I have, and if you lay the die on there, I have enough room for a hat and a scarf and maybe the whole dress, probably the top of the dress, and then I will cut them apart. So here we go. You see what you get. And so I will, I can see that I didn't get the whole dress. I'm drawing, going back with the pencil, and I'm drawing where the scarf is, where if I cut that dress in half, where the blouse and the skirt would be, where the legs would be, and then also the bottom of the cap. So here we go. We're going to start cutting it out. I almost cut on that line. Don't do that. The bottom half, the bottom of the cap, and then that's what it looks like. And I take a pencil sometimes, and I'll draw around that cuff to delineate that from the rest of the cap. So here goes the scarf. I'll put it on a different one. Of course, these aren't glued down. I'm just giving you an example. And cut off the mittens that can be used on someone else. Cut off the top part of the dress, and that can be a top. And so then when you lay them out, this is the way they start to look. There's the skirt. There are the little bitty teeny tiny mittens. So these are some of the colors that I used, and this one I already put a red dress on, and I didn't have enough paper. It cut off short on that dress, but I'll show you what I do in a little while with that dress that turned out real cute, I think. And then the mittens are on that one, and I'm going to stagger these across a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. There's a white top and a red hat, a hot pink, some blues, an aqua, And so this is a stack of some of the clothing that had already been cut out and cut apart. And I'm going to show you what they look like. For example, the cap has a touch of red in it, that piece of paper. There's a scarf that I thought looked good on that beigey gray background. And then the skirt, because I didn't have enough to cut a whole dress out, so I just cut half the dress. And then I'm getting out my neutral ink with my sponge. I do go around some of this. It's tedious, but the lighter colors, it just gives them an edge and a kind of a boundary and makes them stand out instead of just being just such a plain piece of paper. And then I am drawing in that cuff there. You could do it with brown or with whatever the color of the print is. In this case, it was blue, so I used a blue pencil. Now, this one didn't need the mittens because the mittens are already on her. So I'll cut the mittens off and use them on somebody else if I want to. And so it just goes on and on. There's a full dress. A darker blue cap, and then a top. The scarf is going to cover over where that didn't quite go all the way up. So I'm going to take this one that I cut out earlier and get myself a white scarf. So it goes on top of that. Again, going around with the darker color ink around some of these lighter color pieces makes them look more finished. So in a case like this, it's you can pretend you are on Project Runway if you watch that show, or you can pretend, I had to give that a good push, excuse my hair, so you could pretend you're a fashion designer, or maybe you are a fashion designer, or maybe you have a child who would like to go into that, and this would be a really fun project for them, and you could do it together and work with pattern paper. Now I wanted to show you too, you could just make the whole thing solid, draw in the hair, draw in the eyes. I just used a slit for the mouth and go around the lines of the scarf in the cap, and you could have a whole page just of that. And then there's another scarf. This one actually has some boots on, or some skates, and another dress, and another hat. And here go those tiny little mittens. That's why I'm using the tweezers. And then you can just take your piece and kind of go around and see where would it fit best. See, several of them do not have scarves, so where would this piece look best, or where would this hat look best? Who needs a top? You could put a top on top of a dress if you wanted to change it. You could put something on top of the skirt if you wanted to change it. So if you ever played paper dolls or know what paper dolls are, I call this paper doll piecing because it reminds me a little bit. If you remember, now there's a blue, and I'm going to cut off her feet for some boots. And then again, you could just take the colors around and say which color looks good with which mannequin, and just go around like that and play. And then this, you could add the extra little ruffle or bottom part of the tier, you might say, of a skirt in a different color. But anyway, that's where this all started, was with that card that I made in one of these Simon Says 10 cards, 1 kit. That gave me the idea to do the paper piecing, and so I wanted to carry it a step further and make kind of a collage page. It could be a scrapbook page, it could be the cover of a book. If you've got a booklet you want to make, punch some holes on the side and get some binding rings, and maybe put some ideas for fashion in there, or anything really. Colors, paper, print, patterns, wallpaper, and make it your own little fashion book. This could, if you had a child that was interested in this, you could make the great big giant one. And by the way, I'm just putting these together. They have glue on them, so I'm building these up. But you could even frame it and put it on the wall as inspiration to the child or whoever it is that might go back and refer to it. Now, there's what I was talking about earlier. I took a gel pen and went back and colored in white under that dress that was cut off, and I really like the way that accidental mistake worked out, because it kind of looks as if the skirt is flipping up and she has on either a petticoat or another skirt underneath it. And then also, if you really wanted to carry it to the extreme, you could cut off the knobs of the hat, little pom-poms, or use your 1/4-inch hole punch and punch a hole and go back and exchange the different knobs, pom-poms on each cap to a different one. Put a red one on a blue one and a blue one back on the red one. Trade them out. Whatever color would enhance, and you might not want to do it at all. Now, one more thing you could do besides, and there are many things, but another thing besides just a big sheet of paper with all this on it would be to break it down. In this case, I'm breaking it down into 3s. You could do one for a card, for a birthday card, or a thinking of you card. But these, I backed 2 pieces of paper, put them together with a tiny bit of one showing around the edge of the other, put the girls that I'd already put together on the one I liked, thought it went with the best. There's a stamp in the kit called Winter Hello. Stamped it out, backed it with black. The others are blue and white, aqua and white, red and a dark burgundy, black and blue, and then again you could back it with black one more time. Now, this was just a piece of trim that I had as a gift wrap, that I'm just showing you could do that if you wanted to. There's so many other ways you could decorate it if you really wanted to emphasize the winter part of it. This could make a large card, of course, but again, just to show different ways of displaying, you could have them side by side and it would make a cute little gathering. Now here, we're going back to the big ones. I took the 3 out that I put on that page in the squares or the rectangles and rearranged these on the page side by side. I think they could look cute framed. And again, here is the original, and you will see I colored her face, I colored her hair, I drew her in some eyes and a mouth, and she is actually on ice skating. But this is where the whole idea came from, to do the paper piecing, and I thought just one little girl there just wasn't enough, so I wanted to do some more. And so really kind of the sky's the limit on something like this, because you could just carry it to the nth. You could decorate the background. You could put glitter under her feet, or some of that snow that you can paint with and really winterize it. But here they are together, and then there is the original. Just very quickly, I'm just showing these are the different pieces interchanged with each other, top with hands, top without mittens, mittens, boots, a top, scarves, the whole dress, the dress cut apart into a top and a skirt, and then there's the die that you get all of that from that one die. So I hope you enjoyed. I had a lot of fun putting this together. As I said, it's tedious, but it's a lot of fun, and I think it's very rewarding. So I hope you enjoyed. There are the still shots here and some more videos at the end that you might like to look at, especially those other 10 cards, one kit from Simon Says. See you next time. Bye-bye.